Hello, welcome back. I am going to jump right into it because I always make this beginning way too long and I'm already doing it again. I want to talk about devotion. I had my Substack article come out earlier this week about devotion, specifically about devotion as a way of making tribute to our lives and kind of aligning our lives with this sense of supreme meaning, which we can compare to holiness. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to talk about devotion. I'm going to talk about why we devote to things, and I'm going to talk about what for, and not in the sense that let's just get into it. I want to talk about devotion because in this article that I wrote for Substack, I was really trying to examine the question of why we keep going, why do we do the things that we do, how we make things meaningful, how we make things impactful. And devotion has been on my mind quite a bit because even in my lowest points, I'm still here filming these fucking videos. I'm still here writing these articles, creating my art. I'm doing what I have to do, even if the payoff isn't immediate. You know, devotion has it has this religious connotation. It's an act of commitment, but we have this idea that devotion is connected so intimately with faith, and not just faith like in the way that I would use faith, but faith in the organized religious sense, where faith means you're doing something, you're offering something greater than yourself, whether that's God, the universe, a number of deities, it doesn't matter. That's the kind of idea. Now, I'm not religious, so devotion to me is again that just that contribution, that offering to the greater than myself. And that could be my mission in life, that could be, which is my several missions in life. It could be to the goal of loving better, or showing up in my life better, or being more present, all of these things. And or it could just be considered, these small acts of discipline, these small acts of commitment. And so yeah, my mind's been on devotion, but my mind's also been on discipline because I'm trying to make some habitual changes that are difficult to make. And I was one of them being meditation. And the reason I've been working on meditation is because it's something that's changed my life significantly. I started meditating when I was in high school out of pure necessity. I was just like all over the place. I didn't have like an ADHD diagnosis yet. I didn't really realize why my brain was doing what it was doing. I felt disorganized. I felt anxious. There were a lot on my plate, and as there's continued to be a lot on my plate, and that plate has not been any less, I am realizing that it might be a useful tool to pick up again. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm picking it up again, and I've well incorporated mindfulness in my life, but not the actual act of meditation. I was listening to someone speak about meditation. They mentioned, it's one thing to be mindful and have these interruptions in your life, and that's incredibly impactful, and it has been for me. It's another thing to have the act of discipline, which in one way it can be a ritual, it can be a devotional act to this greater goal of being a better person in the world. But I want to talk about discipline, devotion, and outcome, because as I was meditating, I was like, this is hard again, which makes sense because it's been a while. I had a lot on my mind. I'm anxious. The human mind does what the human mind does. Kind of going back into this practice of self-compassion where it's like, oh, hey, hold on. I have to be like really patient with myself because this isn't going how I want it to. So I meditated for like 45 minutes, but I was trying to fall asleep. I was trying to do some more relaxing meditations, and it just wasn't working. And I was getting frustrated. And I was asking myself about devotion because I want to devote myself to these primary goals of love, of contributing beauty to the world, of contributing play, of being playful, of being kind, considerate, loving, and also just showing up and creating what I create in the best way that I possibly can. And that is what I'm devoted to. That's what I feel in a spiritual sense I'm devoted to. And this is an effort, an offering of my life, of my time, of my behavior to this greater goal, which makes my life feel meaningful and therefore holy to me. Because I think that that's all that holiness is to me, is the ability to inspire awe within yourself, to feel connected to source, to feel connected to the warmth in your gut that says that you're not alone, that this is everything, that we're everything. The moment when I begin to see myself in you, that's holy. And I'm trying to nurture that. So this meditation is becoming a devotional act. Discipline is becoming a devotional act. It's not working. What happens if it's not working? Let's talk about what that means. So we talk about success. Okay, if I'm devoted to this presence, which I know is going to bring me closer to my goal of being more loving, of bringing more beauty, of being more playful, and of creating better, then is that not enough? Even if this is struggle, even if I am steadfast in my meditation and I'm struggling throughout this process, is that not enough? And so I had to ask myself, why is there so much resistance here? Why do I feel like this is not working? Why do I feel like this is a failure? Why do I feel like this is not bringing me closer to my goal? And it's that immediacy. It's that immediacy of the response. I'm not seeing what I want. I'm not seeing whatever. And then I had to ask myself, what is it that you really want? Because that was not the intention. When I went into meditation, in that moment, my intention was not this devotional act. I thought it was, but what it really was is I wanted to fall asleep. I've been anxious. I wanted to be less anxious. I wanted all these things to be fixed. I wanted to express my life in this way, and I thought that I could do this, and it would go do 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 A B C. Everything is easy and good and fun. This has had me kind of in this mind of, what is devotion if not discipline? In some degree, devotion is, again, this added layer of discipline. It's not discipline for discipline's sake. It's discipline for this wider contribution to a deeper meaning. What if it gets muddied like it did with my meditation? And what if it doesn't pan out in these short-term kind of gratification ways, or doesn't have these like added benefits that I was really hoping for in that moment? I really have no good answer. I think when I started to look at these themes kind of closely, as close as I could as I was trying to fall asleep, it became really apparent to me that devotion, in the way that I spoke about it in this article, is the goal. Regardless of how I was feeling in that moment, the goal is that I want my life to be as meaningful as possible. And that means opening myself up to and discovering opportunity for devotion, despite the fact that that was not, got a little messy and a little muddy, whatever, in that moment. That was still true, and I want to maintain that. So devotion and discipline and outcome got a little bit all in the middle. And yeah, it's been heavy on my mind in the sense that I am thinking, okay, I need discipline to improve these habits. I need to better meditate because I need to calm my mind. Okay, well, hold on. Now you're adding a little bit to this. Hold on. You are making a mess of this. And a part of that is accountability. And you have to be like, hold on, like I'm actually maybe putting a little too much pressure on this like 15 minutes of sitting in silence and like sitting with myself. And then you start to get angry at yourself. And then, where am I really being devoted to loving? Am I really being devoted to kindness? Am I like really being devoted to these things that matter most? Am I really contributing to a meaningful life if I'm doing things for a different outcome? And look, I'm not saying that those outcomes aren't going to be great. And they could be. And I'm not saying that every time I do something and I'm devoted to these 4 things or whatever, or this mission that I have, or these missions that I have, that these other outcomes aren't going to come in and they're not going to be freaking awesome. Okay, I'm not saying that. And I look forward to that. But what I'm saying is, when our devotion becomes muddied with outcome and discipline, without differentiating what makes devotion, we forget meaning. That's the difference. Discipline is the act of commitment. Outcome is the result. Devotion is the reason. It's the why. It's what are you doing and for what? And I forgot. And yeah, I just want to think, like, I really think I'm working hard. I have a big project ahead. I've announced it on social, so I guess I can admit now that I'm working towards my first solo exhibition, which is super stressful. And I'm way in over my head, but I'm committed. I'm committed in a very literal sense. I'm putting in the hours. I'm working day and freaking night, mainly night, but am I forgetting my why? What if it doesn't pan out? What if the outcome that I'm so attached to doesn't pan out? What do I do? Is it all for nothing? Is it all for nothing? What if it is not seen? What if I don't earn the money back? Well, that'll fucking suck for many reasons, let me tell you. But in an emotional, spiritual sense, what does that mean? Why does that matter? And I started to think about, what is this mess I've made, this mud in the river? What is this? Why am I not seeing it clearly? Yeah, it always comes back to attachment. It always comes back to attachment, like with an outcome, with a desire, with something greater. And none of those things are wrong. I believe that we can contribute to our own suffering through attachment, contribute to our own suffering through desire. But I think that these are meaningful pursuits, and they contribute to meaningful pursuits. And they also help us identify maybe what we feel to be meaningful, our lives, or the fight against meaninglessness, in the sense that we get to paint that fucking picture, my friend. We have every opportunity given to us. And I guess this is all to say, I'm kind of just rambling, but this is all to say that I missed the opportunity and I'm trying to look for it better. And the goal of meditation was to better find it, which is funny. Like, the goal of meditation was to still my mind enough to contribute to a longer pattern of interrupting anxious thoughts, interrupting more autopilot behavior, becoming more present, being more engaged in my life, being more engaged in my relationships, being more willing to contribute meaningfully and intentionally to things that I value. Instead, I was like, why isn't this working? Hey guys, why is it not working? Ring ring, tell me, why is it not working? I genuinely was like pissed. I was like, hey, so been meditating for about 45 minutes. Am I sleepy? No. Had a coffee 9 hours ago. Hey, why am I not sleepy? I was so pissed. And I'm like tossing, turning. I'm like sweating. Get me out of here. Like I genuinely. And then I was like, wait, hey, I think I had to chill for a second. Oh my God, me have to chill? That's crazy. Never had to do that before. So I was like, oh my God, wait, maybe this is just like, these are the challenges of devotion. These are the challenges. Devotion isn't always going to be so easy. Discipline isn't always going to be so easy. In fact, it rarely is. And I'm going to find that real difficult every fucking time. And the reason being is because devotion is so abstract. Meaning is so abstract. So when I'm sitting there and I'm sleepy and I'm tossing and turning and I'm sweating and I'm pissed, it's going to be really hard for me to say, oh, yes, well, you would like to be contributing to the wider whole. You would like to be. My freaking monkey brain is pissed. It's like filling in shit. Like I'm pissed. And so, yeah, obviously the goal in the long run is that, monkey mind can relax and I can reconnect as deeply as I can to this greater meaning that I have that feels holy, that feels meaningful, impactful, awe-inspiring, that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. But for now, it doesn't feel like that. And I have to be willing to, really connect with these intentions. It's tough. And I think the point of this video was not to answer the question that I answered in the Substack. And if you want to read the Substack, honestly, it's one of my favorite things I've ever written. Yeah, because I'm so quick to understand discipline and so hard it's so hard for me to understand devotion. Pulling at the thread of these definitions, it's really, really fucking hard. And then you have to ask yourself every single moment, my brain doesn't want to do that. My brain's at capacity, like full house. No more room. It's like a packed elevator. Get off. Oh, hey, like when you have a city bus drive by, you're gonna get on it, but it's so full, and you're like, actually, I'll be late. Like, I don't want to show up to meditate. Hey, actually, I don't want to do these things that I know are gonna be easy, or eventually, and I don't want to get back on the bus. I don't want to get back on the bus. It's gonna be easy to stay away. It's gonna be easy to result in the behaviors that aren't as difficult because meditation fucking sucks. I didn't like flopping around like a fish in my bed last night, but I did, and I'll do it again tonight, I guess, until it gets easier. And it's till the river runs clear, they say. Till the river runs clear, you let the mud settle. That's what devotion is for. It doesn't mean that you're going to get the outcome right away. It doesn't. In fact, the outcome is not guaranteed. And that's something I've always struggled with because I've been in a pursuit of something that takes time, of some things that take time. I'm very keen to get what I want out of this life, and I want depth, I want meaning, I want all of these really, really complicated and abstract things that matter to me. And it's not going to be an overnight fix. It hasn't been an overnight fix. I've been like actively seeking this for like 10 years almost. Like since I was like really depressed as a teenager, I was like, fuck this. Oh, hold on, I have 70 years to deal with this? No thanks. I'll be starting now. And it sucks. And I give up all the time. And I have given up, and I've gone years in the middle of being nasty and being cruel and also being kind and soft and gentle and all of these things at the same time, because devotion is the greater theme. Discipline, the act. How often do you act on your devotion? How often are you committed? Where am I going with this? I don't know. But the point is that devotion is heavy on my mind. And it was hard actually for me to separate it from religion for a little bit. When I say a little bit, I mean like 45 minutes of me trying to be like, okay, pull at this devotion. What does it feel like? I had to say with myself, what does devotion feel like? Because it's more than commitment. What does it feel like? It feels heavier, more spiritual, like your core is connected, like there's a thread from you to this kind of calling that's like yanking. It's like tapping into that as much as you can, finding that opportunity, training the eye. Can I see this? Can I find this as often as I can? And can I, put my blinders on to outcome? Can I put my blinders on to outcome? Can I say, hold on, just because this time it doesn't work doesn't mean it won't in the long run. I wouldn't be where I am right now in terms of my career if I didn't spend 2.5 years in the beginning really fucking like shit in the bed left and right, like really fucking up, making bad investments in the business, learning how to fucking do accounting, learning how to use social media, all of these things. Like if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here. And I'm still learning, and I wish I was perfect. God, do I wish I was perfect? Oh, do I wish I was perfect? I do, but I'm not. And the devotion keeps me going. The discipline, is me going. And the outcome is not as immediate as I wish it would be. But here we are. It's just devotion is going to be that steadfastness, that faith, that holding on for as long as you need to get through what you need to get through. It'll be easier to devote sometimes and harder to devote others. Like I said, last night was real annoying to me. And you'll find these little ways, these opportunities, this moment. There's a quote from Bruce Almighty, crazy movie for me to reference, but I think about it all the time because I'm not religious. I was raised Catholic. I'm not religious at all. I don't believe in God, and I don't believe that there's a creator that has told us that we're fated or predetermined outcomes or any of these things. The God character said, Morgan Freeman, he said, I'm going to get the things wrong, but the gist will be there. He said, you asked me for courage. I'm going to give you opportunities to be courageous. You want these outcomes. You want to be more loving. You want to bring more beauty. You want to bring creativity to the world. You want to be more playful. I'm going to give you opportunities to be more loving. I'm going to give you opportunities to be more playful, to see more beauty, to be more creative. I'm going to give these opportunities for you to take advantage of. It's all about free will, baby. We don't know about God. We don't know about predetermination. We don't know about these things. What we do know is that we're here. We understand the human experience, kind of. Barely. We kind of understand the human experience. We know that we have free will to an extent. The most free will that we have is over our perceptions. The most free will we have is over our perceptions. That's where the first round of opportunity is going to be. It's going to be what's already here. What do I already have? What is in my toolkit? And that's going to come from presence. And that means I need to sit down and meditate and figure this shit out and flip-flop like a fish in my bed, sweating. At the end of the day, devotion, connecting to that higher calling, being a part of that higher calling is going to require a little bit of discipline, and it's going to require a reshift in my understanding of outcome. I hope this made even a little bit of sense. I hope we can remain devoted. I hope we can build lives for ourselves that are beautiful. I hope we can see what beauty is already there. And I hope we use these callings that we have, these pulls on our hearts, these pulls on our spirits that bring us closer to a better world, and a better world for everyone on an intimate, meaningful level, on the individual and collective level. If we all find meaning, what beauty that would bring to the world. If we all find this softness in love. I'm gonna actually lean more on love there, just saying the meaning of life. Love, connection, relation, it's all of that. It's love, compassion. It's the experience of connection. Anything that makes me feel this deeper sense of connectedness is love. And anything that we can do to bring that feeling to ourselves, to everyone, whatever, what a better world we would have. That starts with recognizing what's already here. What can we love now? What can we do? And your meaning and your process and your everything is going to be different than mine. But this is what inspired these thoughts about devotion and discipline, and where I wound up last night, flopping to one more time. Just try one more time. Use devotion, commit to discipline, reframe your outcome. Have a beautiful day. Bye.